Hi, I'm John Carpenter, and you will see me in the Thing expanded documentary.
U.S. number 31 calling McMurdo. Urgent.
Come in. Over.
Did you notice anything strange about the dog? Anything at all?
Strange? No.
What the hell happened here? Looks like something buried under the ice.
What we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be.
Bennings was right there, Mac. I swear to God it had a hold of him.
Could have imitated 1,000,000 life forms on 1,000,000 planets.
There was one of those things out there trying to imitate him, Gary. We gotta burn the rest of them. Nobody trusts anybody now.
So how do we know who's human?
There's some kind of test, Doc.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood.
You ain't tying me up.
Then I'll have to kill you, child.
You gotta be kidding.
We gotta bring this whole place right down into the ice. We're not getting out of here alive. But neither's that thing.
I'm most proud of this movie. I wouldn't change a frame of it.
Good morning, campers. It is Wednesday. Last I checked. It's time for Midnight's Edge in the morning. I'm Tom Connors. We have the boss man, Andre, with us. How you doing?
Indeed, I am good. Today is our 600th stream.
Is it?
It is. Time
You're
flies.
very excited, Tom.
Well, he's been at 599 of these before, so it does get a little bit routine. But also very glad to have you here, Mr. Chato.
Yeah, if you do that, does your balloons come down or whatever?
Hold on, that's not the balloons. Yeah, that's the confetti.
That works. There we go.
There we go. Yay.
Yes, I can do the. I think that's the laser show. There you go. Did you guys ever see any of those things like Laser Pink Floyd or Laser Genesis?
I've seen laser shows, but not like rock concerts. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, those were popular in their time.
I've seen Rammstein shoot flamethrowers over the audience. Does that count?
That would be pretty. That would be pretty cool. We had a planetarium that was falling into disuse because the kids out there were just not interested in learning about the movement of the heavens, and so they turned it into a laser concert place, which was brilliant. I mean, you had this wonderful dome, and then they put in these gigantic laser scribblers, and you went and saw, psychedelic concerts using lasers. I don't know. It was pretty good.
Cool.
But congrats
yeah,
on hitting 100, guys.
Well, thank you. And I just want to look. Sean Estep is here. This is someone I've been wanting to talk to for a while. Thank you so much for the box you sent me, man. I really appreciate that. In fact, one of the main things he sent me here is awesome. Is he sent me a little clobby, so I have a clobby to watch over me. That was awesome of him. Thank you. And sent me some other goodies in there. I really appreciate it. I hadn't got a chance to see you, and so thank you for that, man. I really, 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 really appreciated it. Sent me some other good stuff in there too. It's like some Ninja Turtles and other good stuff. So, you know me.
I like turtles.
So yeah, thank you, Sean, for that. I just wanted a chance to thank you in person. So,
yeah, much appreciated. And Tom
Yeah.
does like his turtles and everything else that we are sent. And we have some cool people watching. We have Latinos Land is here, Penny is here, One Punch Man Token Fan is here, Jill Powers, The River Daughter, Daryl Brewer, Scott Perry, and many, many more. We're so glad to see you all. Everyone, please share that link, smash that like hell, and let everyone know that we are alive still after 600 streams in a row, not missing one Monday, Wednesday, or Friday for 600 streams straight, regardless of holidays, especially if it's Labor Day. So yeah,
and we're getting some love from the chat already, like ActionCom here, who's got a super chat for you, says, Andre, the Bad Movie Bible has released its video for all the Conan Barbarian knockoffs. Have you had a chance to see it? Any thoughts? Any off-brand Conan recommendations? Oh, this one I got to check out. Are you familiar with this channel?
I have, well, I am familiar with this channel because I saw the super chat like 1 minute before we went live here, so I had a chance to look it up. But beyond that, no, I am not familiar with this channel.
No, I love this channel.
A video of theirs.
So what this guy does is he goes through if there's like Jaws ripoffs, Die Hard ripoffs, whatever kind of, whenever we talk about the movies where they, something will come out there and then you'll get 20 different movies that are just like it. That's what he does. He goes through all of the ripoffs, right? So sometimes these videos are like 50 minutes long because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I see. The Conan one is really long because there are so many Conan ripoffs. I mean, basically every sword and sorcery movie of the 80s is, in a sense, a Conan ripoff.
Yeah, so he's done a lot of them. They're great. Highly recommended, and thank you, ActionCom, for that. I did not know they did a Conan one. I'm gonna have to check that out myself.
Yeah, no, I saw it now. It's been published in the last day, so you have to give me time to discover the channel and everything. But thanks for the tip. I will be checking it out. As for any off-brand Conan recommendations, yes,
Sword and Sorcerer for sure. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, The Northman from Robert Eggers that was released last year here. That's a great movie, and it's very heavy Conan inspiration in it, to the extent that
there's no cheese in it.
There doesn't have to be.
Yes, there has. Absolutely. If you're going to do Conan, it has to have cheese in it.
Well, then I have some recommendations for you coming up. But anyway, here the Conan recommendations were so thorough that in the special features of the new Conan on 4K, the director of The Northman actually is in a feature, or as a bonus feature, where he talks about Conan the Barbarian's influence on The Northman. So we weren't crazy when we imagined that. That was very, very real. So that would be my foremost recommendation. Now, of 80s movies, 80s sword and sorcery movies, I have two in particular. And no, not the Beastmaster. I recommend that too, but that's not one of my two primary ones. One is The Barbarians, starring the Barbarian brothers. That one has the look right. It is fun. It is cheesy. So you're going to like that one, Paul. And the other one is even cheesier, and that is Sorceress from 1982. Now that one, underrated gem. And the Conan influence is so strong that sometimes you can even see which issues of the comics they ripped off. So yeah, that's a very cool one. So those two in particular I would recommend. And yeah, I will be checking out this video. And of course, I see others. I recommend some other stuff here, like for instance, Deathstalker. Yeah, that was actually the movie that the people behind The Sorceress made afterwards. So same people. That's Roger Corman crew.
What was the movie that Gary Cole was in where he was a Conan ripoff?
I think that you are referring to Beastmaster, and it wasn't Gary Cole. It wasn't Gary Cole. It looks like Gary Cole, but it's not Gary Cole. I forget his face. He was also in the miniseries V.
Yeah, it's a Mark Singer.
Mark Singer, yeah. I am almost positive that you are referring to Beastmaster with Mark Singer and not Gary Cole, though I can see how you would be confused.
I'm gonna look him up. I don't think he's done anything like that.
The guy who was the sidekick to the Gary Shandling show. He was the bad guy in it. He was also in Men in Black. What's his name?
Then you're thinking of Beastmaster. Yep, Rip Torn. Yep,
Rip
that's
Torn.
Beastmaster.
Rip Torn
yep.
was the bad priest. That wasn't Gary Cole.
No,
it's
that's Mark Singer. Yep.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, you know what makes me mad is they still haven't released Beastmaster 2 on anything decent, but yeah.
Or the TV series.
Or the TV series for that matter. I think the TV series got a DVD release at least, but yeah.
I'm annoyed that which was the one that was mentioned up here? Deathstalker. I'm annoyed that only Deathstalker 1 and 2 got the Blu-ray treatment. What about Deathstalker 3 and 4?
Probably under different license somewhere.
Probably.
The one I really enjoyed was Albert Payun's Sword and the Sorcerer. I know I mentioned that earlier, but that's actually out on 4K.
Yeah, it actually did get a 4K release.
And that one is almost like a Conan / Masters of the Universe straight up ripoff. Get right down to the magic sword and everything. Or the cool sword or whatever. Because that's the one where the sword does really neat stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there you go.
And of course, we have to mention the animated Fire and Ice.
Oh, yes. Fire and Ice. Oh, gosh, yes. Are they still doing that live action version of that? I thought that was.
I don't think so. They've been doing that for. I first read about that in 2005 when Robert Rodriguez was supposed to do it. He had secured a deal with the Frazetta estate. He basically had everything ready to go. The problem there was Weinstein himself, or Weinstein, as I believe is how you pronounce it, who just kept giving him all these other crappy projects that he wanted him to do first. Just do this movie, you can do Fire and Ice afterwards, and then afterwards never came. I don't think it's happening anymore, which is a crying shame, because that would have been something.
Yeah. Well, and keep moving on here. We got Packin' Protons in the house who sends in 5 and says, also happy 35th birthday to Sega Genesis. Oh, the Sega Mega Drive.
Oh, wow. Yeah, time flies.
Yeah. I actually don't have my Sega sound anymore, damn it. Need to get that back.
We'll get that back, yeah.
Packing Proton sends in 5 again and says, but Hollywood did the thing with the DEI and the lady. If Tom recognizes this modified line, he'll play the correct 3-word clip. Turtle. Hollywood did the thing. 3-word clip. Which one? I'm totally drawing a blank here.
I think he means I like turtles.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
I like turtles.
Yeah, 3 words.
That is 3 words. I was thinking he was thinking something else for some reason. I don't know why. That's my fault. Because you're talking about the DEI and the lady. So I was thinking it was something like...
Fuck baby, can't put a chicken in, make her gay.
Make her gay. Chicken. That's too many letters. Too many words. I don't know. I give up. But thank you for that, Packing Protons. You like turtles? I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Anyway, Hyperguyver 2 is here as well and says, I wonder if Ziegler gonna be dumb enough to be seen with Gal Gadot after her little gaffe on Twitter.
Weird.
Yeah, did you see that?
No.
She's not going to have any other choice. But basically, what happened, and this has to have been a slight against Gal Gadot. Because I don't think that Rachel Ziegler could possibly be so stupid not to see.
Did she delete that
implications
comment?
Here? I don't know, but meanwhile,
no, here it is. Here it is. Never mind, I found it.
Yeah, right. Because basically, after the release of the Snow White trailer, then Ziegler, she goes on X to thank everyone for watching said trailer. And so basically says, I love you all so much. Thank you for the love and for 120 million views on our trailer in just 24 hours. What a whirlwind. And then the tweet continues, I'm in the thick of rehearsals for Romeo and Juliet, so I'm going to get out of here. Bye for now. And if she had left it at that, it would be perfectly fine. But again, being a woke little Hollywood ingenue, she, of course, she had to drop one more little note in there as well, in addition to having the pronouns in her bio, namely, and always remember, says Rachel Zegler, free Palestine, says Rachel Zegler. Just want to make sure that I'm not going to be clipped for that. And of course, there's the opinionating of that. But then you also have that this comes on the heel of the rumors that she doesn't much like Gal Gadot.
Wow,
And
you know
Gal
what's
Gadot,
sad?
of course, is Israeli. So yeah, it's going to be a fun press tour.
Does anybody else notice something I'm noticing here too?
No.
Her original post only got 36K likes. The Free Palestine one, 51K.
Well, the opinion that she expresses is a very widely held one, so I'm not surprised by that in and of itself. And
we
people
wonder
are
why
free
celebrities
to
are getting
feel
involved
that.
in politics.
Weird.
But there is that, and then there is also the matter of her co-star, and there's some crossing of streams here that some might use the term problematic to describe. Because certainly it doesn't do anything to dispel the rumors that there's issues between her and Gal Gadot. So yeah, we saw that. And yeah, I think it's going to be wild with this movie and the press tour coming up for
Well,
it.
these young things just can't keep their mouth shut. And of course, she is an expert in the an expert in this Middle Eastern field, correct? I believe she does have a PhD in Middle Eastern studies.
Oh,
And
she has something better. She has an opinion, and she's going to scream
Yeah,
it from the
I
rooftops.
forgot about
That's
that.
much more important. Yeah.
She went to the House of Opinion.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing here is it's kind of a crack at Gal because she's
She was in the IDF, but
yeah.
all Israeli citizens have to spend time in the IDF.
That's what I mean. It's because she's Israeli. Exactly. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So again, it's one of those things where it is.
Would you call that woke on woke violence?
I don't know how woke Gal Gadot is. Has she expressed many tremendously woke viewpoints in the past?
She did that song. She got sucked into, or she actually I think was the originator of. There was some musical thing that everybody else joined into.
That Imagine thing she was on.
Imagine,
Yeah.
wasn't she part of that? And
I think for the lockdown shit, yeah.
Yeah, and I think.
Oh yeah, that embarrassing thing, the one
that.
where
when she's of that ilk, I mean, obviously, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is clearly a knock at her, and that she's taken a lot of flack. It makes me wonder, it's like, okay, so you're gonna ignore all the actual real criticism you get over here for your attitude and Snow White, although you did point out in a more recent video, I think, Andre, if not, it's been pointed out, that she has kind of changed her tune a little bit more recently on the Snow White business. But like, yeah, you get flack for supporting Gal or being in a movie with Gal, and yeah, anyway,
how is it going to help the movie to suck it into this entire crazy conflict? How on earth is it going to help? Plus the fact that clearly Snow White is a political Costa Gravis movie that has direct connections to the war in the Middle East. I mean, she's stupid. The woman is stupid.
Snow White comes in and tries to take
to yourself.
She tries to take the dwarves' oil. The dwarves don't like that, so they got to fight back.
So yes,
And-
I think you're right that she probably has had a head-to-head conflict with Gal, and this is her dig back at her.
Well, this is the problem with being a celebrity and getting into your religion or politics, right? Look, I already know that most of the celebrities in Hollywood are lefties. I get it. But yesterday, you know what I did yesterday? And my timeline has gotten so much cleaner now. I know you don't care because you're not an X anymore, Paul. But for those who are watching, and for Andre, this is kind of funny. I actually unfollowed 2 specific people. 3 actually, but 2 specific ones that really cleaned up my timeline. Can you guess who those 2 people were?
Well, I'm guessing one was Mark Hamill. That would do a lot. I
George
don't know
Takei.
that you ever followed Stephen King, but that would also do a lot.
I'm still following him because he, at least, I'll give him credit. Not every damn post that Stephen King does is him suffering from TDS. Mark Hamill, on the other hand, constantly. Takei, constantly. Those 2 I blocked or unfollowed, and my timeline has gotten so much cleaner of Kamala shit and anti-Trump stuff. Right? The politics have almost completely gone. And then Sean Astin had to go and drop his crap yesterday. I'm like, really, Samwise? Come on. I guess Goonies do say die. So I had to unfollow him. But like, that's what I'm doing now, is if you come on to if something political comes on, I'm just going to unfollow you now. I don't care anymore. Right?
You mean block, right?
No, I'm not blocking them yet.
That's
just
right.
unfollow for now. Once
That's
once November ends, I might refollow them. But after, like, until then, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the constant barrage of stuff. And that's what I figured out it has to be, because Mark Hamill is like, there's nobody on earth, I think, that has TDS as bad as Mark Hamill.
Well, he has, I do believe he is getting very well paid for.
Oh, yes, we know this. Yeah, you've reported on this too, Andre, I think.
So, yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep moving along here. We got Dr. Longdongler sending in £1.99 to remind us to hit that like button if we haven't already. McGarganagle is here. McGarganagle. For $9.99, he says, so are we seriously going to believe if Mickey grabbed your wiener, you have no legal recourse so long as you ever were subscribed to D Plus or Hulu? They either have the best lawyers or the worst. What a joke. So you know what they're talking about here, Andre?
I don't.
Vaguely. Yeah, I remember I saw something that happened in Disney World or something. And since this person had agreed to the terms and services of Disney Plus years in advance, they decided to use that against this individual. But I do not recall exactly what had happened, but it doesn't sound good now, does it? So take me and the audience through it, pretend that we don't know, because I don't.
No problem. Because actually this was something that I believe WDW Pro and Jonas had talked about like 2-3 months ago when this first had come down. And what happened here, the short version is as quickly as I can possibly get into explaining. A couple had ate at a restaurant in Disneyland in Florida. And this woman who has the peanut allergy told the staff, and not long after they left the restaurant, she went into shock and died.
Oh.
From an allergy.
Well, that's not fun.
So the widower brought on a case against Disney for wrongful death and only wanted $50,000. Not 50 million, not 5 million, 50,000. Barely enough to pay for the funeral, I bet. But because it is buried in their agreements in pretty much everything Disney has, and this is what Pro had pointed out to us before, that you technically are not supposed to be able to sue them if you've ever had Disney Plus, if you buy an Epcot ticket, evidently, if you probably have signed up or done anything through Disney before. In fact, I used to be in the Disney Movie Club, so they probably own my liver. That was a joke. Come on, Paul. Jesus.
Well, you may have intended it as a joke, but maybe
it might be true. But no, this reminds me of that episode of South Park from like a decade ago, the Human Centipede episode that, you know, when Apple had their buried terms of service and shit in there. So yeah, basically they're trying to get this case thrown out of court, because deep and buried in the Disney Plus agreement is you can't sue them for anything over small claims without arbitration first. So they want the $50,000 lawsuit dismissed. And it was also pointed out yesterday, their high-priced lawyers probably cost twice that just to drop the papers for this.
Wow, I wonder if Bob Iger is going to mention this in his next book, because in his previous book he spoke about this one kid who was eaten by alligators and how amazingly he handled that and what a fantastic man he was for doing so. Wonder if he's going to write about this case here for the follow-up. That'd be something.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So yeah, I think we're waiting now to find out if it does get tossed, but I'd be very surprised if any judge would toss this, because this is kind of extending way beyond the reach of a contract. I'm not a lawyer, but yeah.
But I play one on TV.
I do often. Yeah, Flash, I don't think this is going to hold up in court. But the thing is Disney wants this to go through, because if this goes through, then they can stand on this precedent going forward.
Bringing us all a little bit closer to that cyberpunk dystopian future, where the corporations have all the power, including the legal one. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's a scary precedent right there.
Yeah. And then we got some more things to get into here. Jim V833 sends in $1.99, says Gina got fired for her post, but Rachel has not. Yeah, that's true. And then Chaos Sonic 1 says, I only use X for adopt commissions for art, basically. Yeah. Yeah, you have that. But yeah, so there was a trailer that dropped yesterday.
There were actually a couple
in the middle of the
trailers
night
that dropped. Yeah.
Well, specifically the Craven one dropped in like the middle of the night.
Yeah, let's begin with the Craven trailer. And Paul, what did you think about the Craven trailer? Do you feel like seeing that movie now?
Sort of, kind of. Lots of pyrotechnics, but no story. So I am concerned about the fact that there's been creeping into Hollywood, and specifically superhero movies, kind of these weird endless battles, even though it looks like it might be X-rated because there's blood and gore in it. It got
R-rated at any rate.
What did I say?
X-rated.
Oh, sorry, R-rated. I meant R-rated. And so I thought it looked good. It looked slick. The lead character was cool. He had the fur. There was I wasn't as bulky as he is in the comics, but my big concern is I don't know what the story is. That's all. But it looked slick. And if you're into heads being lopped off, and he looked, again, impervious to harm, which was a bit of a concern for me. Bit of a Mary Sue or a Guy Sue. What do you call? What's the Mary Sue version of a guy?
There's a name for that actually. What, Gary Stu? Was that it?
Gary Sue.
No,
So
Gary
there's a
Stu.
little bit of that. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Again, I don't know what the story is.
No, I agree with that. Pretty much. It looked all right. I'm actually less excited for the movie now because it was just a bunch of shots of him escaping from prison and being hunted for some reason. Yet he is the hunter. But why was he locked up? Why is he escaping? And what does anyone want? And what does any of this mean? I don't know. That was pretty unclear.
And what the fuck is that?
Rhino.
That's Rhino.
Oh,
From
I know it's kind of
Spider-Man.
rhetorical. It looks horrible. What the hell?
How difficult is it to just like use Rhino in a proper suit without turning him into a mechanical outfit or into a mutant. But
Rhino had
seeing this,
Rhino had a human face
exactly.
in the comments.
I'm sorry to say that seeing this trailer made me a heck of a lot less excited for the movie. I think it's going to be a disaster and it's going to hurt the Marvel brand, even though it's made by Sony and by extension the entire comic book movie genre. I mean, Sony really needs to up their game. But maybe they'll quit after this because they're going to lose a lot of money between this and Madam Web, all in the same year.
Yeah, nothing about this trailer really appealed to me at all. I honestly, I think I got so bored during the trailer, I started doing other things. I don't think I finished the trailer.
So that was pretty boring. And Fresh Snow even points out if it's based on Craven's Last Hunt, I don't see it in the trailer. Yeah, neither do I. I don't see that at all. I don't see anything exciting about this story. Like something about they're in Russia and something his dad hunted for some reason. I mean, this was a really poor excuse for a trailer. But we had another trailer drop, and that's actually dropped today, just an hour before this stream. Tom, you probably haven't seen it yet. Maybe do so now while Paul takes us through his thoughts on the new trailer for Season 2 of Rings of Power.
Okay, my thoughts. First of all, that looks better than anything that I saw in Season 1. And I know that it's unpopular to say anything positive about Rings of Power, but I'm just trying to be honest about what it is that I saw. I think what's eminently clear that if some of the things that they're trying to do come true, if I've interpreted them correctly, I would say they've got some interesting ideas in there. But what's also really clear is just how weak Galadriel is in it, and the concept of using Galadriel and the actress they got to play Galadriel. I think they cut around her. The guy who's playing Sauron is very charismatic, even though I'm not going to argue about whether Sauron looked like that or not. I'm not going to get into that. But one of the things that I mentioned to Andre in our pre-show was that if you take Lord of the Rings off this thing and you get rid of the character Galadriel, it actually doesn't look that bad. It looks like an interesting genre product. So that's my overarching thought. I think obviously it's going to be a failure with regards to adhering to any kind of Tolkien lore, but they knew they had to up their game, and I would say they upped their game in this trailer. And they didn't even include Don Lemelin in it, strangely enough. I don't.
No, he was there. He just didn't have a speaking role, but he was there in some shots.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was there shooting his bow and arrow amidst explosions and stuff.
So I was supposed to watch the Lord of the Rings trailer.
Yeah.
No, the Rings of Power.
Well, it probably wouldn't be. Well, you can check it out while I share my thoughts about it. And I'm largely in agreement with Paul on this one. I would say that this looks much better than any of the trailers that we got in Season 1. But because I have seen Season 1, there's nothing in this trailer that possibly could intrigue me in the slightest, no matter what. Because this show is just too far gone. There is no coming back after Season 1. There is nothing they can do in Season 2 unless it involves time travel and an Infinity Stone or something and undoing all of the events of Season 1, which they're not going to do. Then I'm smart enough to realize that this is just a trailer. They have the best bits. They did obviously a far better job at cutting this trailer than they've done before, but I do believe the trailer nonetheless is deceptive, and it makes the series look more exciting and more epic in a way than it is. And still, it felt really plastic and clean to me. So I wasn't going to be excited no matter what, like full disclosure there, because I've seen season 1. But this was better than I expected, but still I can see right through it that this is going to be more of the same. And just like keep in mind, this is the season where they decided, okay, we have identified the problem. Too many male directors behind the scenes. So for season 2, it will be directed by exclusively women. That's going to solve all the problems. That's what we're seeing right here. I also noticed some selective clipping around Galadriel, clipping around that singing black dwarf lady. I forget her name, but also clipping a lot around her. And we got to see some of the dwarves that are about to be revealed to have been gay all along. So there's going to be some rain. Oh yeah, I'm not even joking. They confirmed that. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So we'll have the rainbows in Rivenfell or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Rivendell.
Tolkien fans, don't be fooled. And for those of you that liked The Rings of Power Season 1, a series that 70% of those who started never finished, and probably even fewer than the 30% who did see it till the end probably liked it. But if you liked all of Season 1, you're probably in for a treat here. I don't know that anyone else is. I don't even know that there's going to be any clicks in covering it. But yeah, we'll see. I was also very glad to see that we didn't get too much of the dirty, filthy, disgusting Harfoots, which just made me sick to my stomach in the first series because they were so repulsive.
Well,
But,
I mean, again, we don't know what this is about. And,
exactly.
And one of the wonderful things about Lord of the Rings is that it's grounded by the story of not Bilbo. My brain's gone. Anyways, we know. So
Frodo?
Yeah, Frodo. And Sean Astin. See, my brain's gone. I mean, I've only read the book 10 times.
Oh, that's not so much.
No.
I have decided since I didn't watch the first season, I'm not going to watch this trailer.
Oh, well, then you can't talk about it. So, yeah, if you didn't watch the first season, then what's the point?
Exactly.
So,
I'm like kind of stupid.
Yeah. Samwise. So, I mean, that was the core of Lord of the Rings. And without their relationship and their quest, there's really no Lord of the Rings, right? I mean, everybody else, yes, those, characters that have burned into our psyche in the books and in the movies. I'm not getting any of that balance between the quietness of the Shire and an incoming danger, and who the main, I don't know who the I don't know who the protagonists. I see a lot of antagonists. I see some of our old friends from the first season of Rings of Power apparently turning bad. I mean, there's the guy in Velvet who spent a lot of time in velvet clothes. I can't remember his name. He's talking with Sauron. So I'm not. I don't know who the protagonists are, and I don't know what they're trying to do. And Galadriel is, like we both said, that they cut around her.
Yeah, because there's a tempest in her, and she's really, really bad because of it.
Sam and Frodo. I am going to be slammed for not remembering those two characters.
Well, I think that the Lord of the Rings fans probably have bigger things to worry about.
Sure.
Especially after seeing this trailer.
Bring it on. Bring it on. That's completely my fault. So yeah, the most interesting character in this trailer looks like Sauron.
Yeah, I can't
His
wait
extremely
for
straight hair.
can't wait for the revelation of the sex scene between him and Galadriel and their pregnancy. So yeah, should be fun.
That's right. Wow. Like why would they? Is that a rumor?
No, it's not a rumor. That's pure speculation. But you had remember I speculated on that when we saw the final episode of season 1. But then you have had like more hints of Galadriel and Sauron going down in the aftermath of Comic-Con. So I think that there's something to it. But
now they have a different actor playing Sauron over the one in season 1. Don't they?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It wasn't Sauron, but I think it was the other guy. There's some other. He's right. Yeah, Paul's right. I can't remember which one it is, but there's some actor who decided not to come back for the second season, so they recast him. But it wasn't Sauron. It was somebody else. Somebody in the chat might remember.
No, I'm pretty sure that the dude that she was hanging out with in season 1 was Sauron in a different character. Okay.
Well, now this guy's Satan Retribution saying that the last actor who played Sauron's walked off.
Oh, it's a recast then. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, now Daniel's saying one of the elves, and then now. So we got a couple people saying both. I don't know. I didn't watch the show. I don't care.
Do you know? Neither does anyone else after season 1, so they can recast anyone. It's not going to make any difference.
They could have recast and rewrote the entire thing, and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. Well, that's what they would have to do in order for someone to care. Recast, redo, and start over.
Well, I guarantee you, they're not following the same path. They really are trying to make this work. There's a lot of money in that trailer, like a ton of money.
Yeah, I don't care about the Rings of Power.
But I am tired of trailers that are trying too hard.
Well, all trailers are the same now. That's the other thing.
That's true.
I mean,
I don't really
trailers
need to watch half of them.
that are overly edited without really saying anything or communicating anything. Because this kind of like was the case with all the trailers we've seen so far, with both Craven and the Rings of Power, just shot after shot after shot, and not a single one of us is able to reiterate any kind of story after watching any one of them. It's just like exhausting to watch, and it doesn't make me more excited, to put it that way. And a final trailer is one, I don't know that we can show it here, but this was something that leaked on X, and that was the D23 footage from Marvel's upcoming Thunderbolts. So this is not an officially released trailer. This is handheld footage, but that's perfectly viewable, available out on X. I reposted it from the Midnight's Edge Twitter account along with my mini review of it. Tom, did you have a chance to see this leaked footage from Marvel's Thunderbolts?
I tried watching it. It was really kind of difficult to see. So no, I didn't really watch it. I watched a few seconds of it. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I saw the whole thing from beginning to end, and it's perfectly clear what's going on, and it looks... I expected it to be bad, but if anything, it looks even more mundane, boring, and bad than I expected. This is a movie that's not going to do Marvel any favors, and they really need to give it the Sastel treatment and scrap it. They're not going to, but they should. Because between Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts, they're going to lose all the money that they're going to be making on Deadpool and Wolverine, they'll lose on their next 2 movies, and then some.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the point in this. Most of these characters I don't care about. Like, I'm
No,
kind of
no
skimming
one
through
does.
it now. I mean, I think Florence Pugh's okay, but like other than that, I don't. Yeah, these are basically all the secondary characters nobody really gives a shit about.
Yeah, it's a Disney Plus reject.
You got Hawk Girl looking thing here. I don't even think that's Hawkeye Girl, but you got not Captain America, Kurt Russell kid. You know, who cares?
You got Ghost Man from Ant-Man 2, as if anyone remembers that.
The Ghost Girl.
Oh, is that who the chick is? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you have Gender Bent Taskmaster from
the only one
Black
I give a shit
Widow
about
movie.
is Bucky, and he looks like he's hardly in it.
Probably an extended cameo.
Doesn't look really appealing to me at all, no. And I didn't even hate Black Widow. The only thing I didn't like about Black Widow was the third act, really. Like, you know, the entire time they're falling for like 30 minutes.
Honestly,
it was screwed up from the beginning. It just needed to be her. They just don't like having simple stories. For whatever reason, everything's overcomplicated and way too much angsty shit. And you know, the whole sterilization business, and like she kicks ass. You know, we had that scene in the hallway where she was with John Favreau's character. And then she took out all those guys in the hallway. That was a really fun scene, right? And we just needed to see more of that. I don't need to see these angsty characters revealing their inner anxieties.
Yeah, and that's for the Black Widow movie. I honestly barely remember anything in it. That's how memorable it was.
Oh, it's all about her clones and sisters, and it's like,
there were clones in that movie?
Well, I mean, not clones, but I mean, she was part of a manufactured group of assassins, right?
Yeah, they were basically Red Sparrows, a lot of them.
Yeah. So that's why I say clones.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got confused there for a second, but yeah, then I get you. Yeah, like I personally, I see Red Sparrow as the unofficial prequel to the Black Widow movie, but hey, that's just me and my headcanon.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's just it was 2 years too late, right? Like at that point, we already know the character's dead. We don't care. I didn't mind the relationships.
That didn't bother me at all.
But let's be real. That's what this movie is. It's a sequel to that movie, which failed. Really, at the end of the day,
right? But in the end, comic books bring characters in and out. Just make the story good. Have some kicking ass. I mean, like, she's very charismatic as an actress, but also by that time in the arc, she was also in her career arc. She was also talking about how she's always being treated like a sex kitten. And I went, oh fuck. Okay, so yeah. Well, I'm sorry. You look good in leather. Have fun.
She didn't seem to have a problem with it until woke.
Well, yeah, and in Black Widow, the movie, she's all really quite covered up now.
That's what I mean. You go back to her earlier days. She's, using, like, even Avengers when she was brought in, like, she's literally using, she was obviously using her womanly ways to get in where she got, and she got caught. But it's like, little did they know she was actually toying with them, right? Like, that's the joke. And that was an empowering moment for her as a character, because, at first glance, we're thinking, oh, of course, she's in trouble and she's tied up or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And no, she's just toying with them.
Yep. And in Black Widow, she's wrapped up like a Polish sausage. I mean, it's just uninteresting suddenly. I mean, part of her character is her sexiness. Well, that being said, the part of the role of even the male characters are their sexiness. It's just that suddenly women can't be sexy in those movies. We've covered that.
Yeah.
That's that you can't have the male gaze. That's just too much.
Yeah, that's very, very bad.
That's very bad.
That's right.
Yeah, bad.
The
male
female
bad.
gaze, though, on the other hand, is fine.
Well, that's commendable.
Yes. Let's get back into some super chats here, and then let's get on to some other news. We got Chaos Sonic 1 who sends in 5, says, "Oh, you guys hear about how Disney tried to sue a person because of his wife's allergy beep? I sent you the article on X." Actually, yeah, we covered it yesterday, and then you sent in another 2 to say, "Ignore my $5 message." You didn't have to do that, Chaos Sonic 1, but yeah, we talked about it a little bit before if you didn't back up and hear about it. But we went over it even more last night. And yeah, no, I hope that a judge looks at that and says, "No, fuck off, Disney. This is going to court." You can't hold that in up as any kind of contract here. But yeah, we'll see how this rolls. Me and My Monkey has been here for 4 months and says, "I appreciate this channel so much. Great personalities and solid entertainment information." Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Keep up the
thank
great
you.
work. At episode 600. Yes, indeed. We got that one already. So then we got Professor HeyTN, who's been a member for 40 months, says, "Question to Paul.
Yeah.
Do you see any movie or show built with joy recently?"
Yeah, that's an interesting. I've been watching some old stuff. I've been watching an anime called The Big O, which is unbelievably silly, but I'm finding it really enjoyable. And it's interesting the naivety that people had in the past, and just fully capable of repeating themes without embarrassment. And just now, everyone are trying to make things so important and significant, and they're not entertaining. Somehow they're putting their message in, and you've got the DEI component in it. And not only do they not know how to make things joyous, they don't know how to make things simple. And even if you take a look at Acolyte, you could say, well, it's simplistic, but not simple and straightforward. And I don't mean to, put a too tight a bow on it, but you got the good guys, you got to know what they're about. You got the bad guys. The Acolyte completely, who knows who's good or bad. But even Ted said that in their interviews where, good people can be bad people can be good. Well, you know what? That's not what Star Wars is. Clearly, they have no idea what Star Wars is about. Star Wars is about knowing who the bad guys are and knowing who the good guys are. It's a serial. It's based on Flash Gordon. No, it's not that difficult. So seeing something of joy now, what is it? Well, certainly it's not Taika Waititi's The Time Bandits. I saw the first
I was
episode.
about to ask about that. Yeah,
I think a lot of people who are joyous people who know how to make joyful things, got involved in it, but it didn't give me much joy. I missed the little people. So I have not seen anything. Trying to think of what is it that I saw of late. The Vince Vaughn show looks interesting. I want to dive.
You guys like the Frasier show too? I was going to say, sorry.
Which one? The new Frasier?
Yeah, you and Script seem to enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked it as well.
Yeah, the brand new one. I mean, they stopped showing it on Crave up here, so I couldn't.
Oh, Cobra Kai is a show I think that's been made with great love and joy.
Yep. I agree. I love. There's season 2 of Chloe, the East German show, or the German show about East German spy. I love that. That to me is one of my favorite shows. So I'm going to dive into that. The last season of Umbrella Academy is upon us. That really went south in episode 3. Or season 3. So I'm kind of concerned about that. But is there something as joyous and as simple as the original Batman series, which is what this person is referring to, because that's what I was talking about in that video. That simple joy, that naive joy. I don't know who's doing that anymore.
Yeah, it was a great question, Professor HeyTN. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then we've got, let's get into a couple of these that have to do with Craven and whatnot, and then we'll get into the next story we got here. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in another 5. Thank you so much. Says Craven is supposed to be the big game hunter, and they are basically using the biological rhino of the cartoons of Spider-Man, which are not good. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that rhino. That's honestly what turned me off, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm good with this. I don't need this in my life.
Well, I mean, I guess what they're showing in the trailer is that he is so overpowering against regular humans that they had to throw in Rhino to kind of even the playing field, which I don't think is the right thing to do. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that, Chaos. And then we got Big Gator 5. Sends in 5 and says, and Venom couldn't have been rated R because Kevin Feige. And Tom Rothman, I think, was insistent that
I think Tom Rothman probably is the bigger one.
But I think it was Feige too, because I think he even said that mandate came from him, I think. Because I think they initially were planning on making it R. And even though they claimed that, who is it, the director or whatever, came out and said, oh, no, it was always meant to be PG-13. It's like, bullshit. Go back and look about 5 months where Tom Hardy has flat out said that they're basically shooting it as an R-rated film.
The trailer didn't look too bad.
And he did the new one, the brand new one, you mean? Looks okay, but Venom kind of lost me with the second one. It was
second one. I agree.
I didn't hate it, but it was just kind of like,
it was pretty disappointing, that second movie.
I agree.
Could this third one be okay? Perhaps, but I don't have a whole lot of hope for it. And then on the Rings of Power front, Hyperguyver 2 sends in 5 and says the problem with Rings of Power Season 2 trailer in the series is the distinct lack of actual elements of Tolkien's writings. That's hard to say together. This turd needs to be flushed. Yeah, I have zero patience for it. None.
I would say that they might actually benefit by clearly disassociating themselves from Tolkien and just using Tolkien elements and making it interesting. I mean, the problem is that we are now finding that the new Star Treks, like Discovery, are not Star Trek. They're Star Trek in name only. The new Star Wars stuff is Star Wars only in name only. They keep the same sound effect, the odd little droid, the odd weapon, things like that, but they have no connection to the original, the original entities. So I've got to, and Rings of Power didn't feel like Tolkien at all, but they use the same characters, right? And concepts. Like I said, if they do find a way to disassociate themselves from Rings of Power, but they can't. I mean, obviously you've got bad guys named Sauron, right? That's very specific.
Yeah, it's a desecration of Tolkien. That's really all there is to that.
That would be a great title, The Desecration of Tolkien.
Kind of is the desolation of Tolkien.
Yeah,
like the desolation of Smog.
That might be a name
off of that, Tom.
Yeah,
that's going to be like the name for the
just use desolation.
Retrospective of the Rings of Power one of these days when the whole thing is done and in the rearview mirror.
But I mean, you know what? I crap on the Acolyte a lot. I think there is going to be one product that's going to be really popular, and that's Chimere's yoga pants. Are going to be hot sellers. I don't know where that came from.
And then we move on to our next topic, though. Alec Baldwin's itchy trigger finger here has a $5 super chat.
You are worthless, Alec Bowen. You are worthless, Alec Bowen. You failed in every way, and now my stock in you has fallen.
Sean Aswipe should focus on becoming the fat hobbit in real life and determining who is his biological father.
Ooh.
Well, I'm pretty sure his real dad he looks enough like his dad, I would say. Is that like a thing that people
it's
think
a thing.
that?
I saw a piece where he finally did that. It was John Aston. They did the test, and John Aston was his dad.
I never really doubted that. I didn't know there was even a rumor that he wasn't. So his mama must have been naughty or something, evidently, for somebody to think that he wasn't, I guess.
I don't know what the situation was in terms of who wasn't married to whom. I have no idea.
He's got his eyes. Like, I mean, he doesn't have the same googliness to him, but I mean, if you look at him, I mean, it's pretty clear.
He doesn't have his
dad's
mustache.
eyes.
Doesn't have his dad's mustache.
That's
so
true. Without the mustache,
I can't recognize him.
Yeah, it is very true. All right. We got one more on the Craven side of things, and then we'll get on to other business here. Gabatron sends in 5 Canadian and says, instead of having just a villain, why won't they decide to make money and put Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in one of these new Sony Marvel films? I'm not so sure Gabatron, on paper that might work. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I don't know if just putting out an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie would be as successful as you think. I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
Well, this is something that they actually reportedly have been trying to do, but evidently nothing has come of it. But could it have worked? Paul, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, I didn't like any of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans.
That's my point, yeah. I mean, sure, he got his redemption in No Way Home, but...
So maybe No Way Home has kind of resurrected his version of it. Although that's not his fault. He didn't write the movies. I thought he did a fine job as Spider-Man, but the movies weren't good.
Far from it. No, I think his Spider-Man movies were awful, both of them. I hated them.
Well, there you go.
And I don't know how much of the world. I mean, if you could put him in movies with like Toby and Tom, or did like a Toby and him team up movie, maybe. No, I think you got. And this is just my opinion, of course, Gabatron. I think maybe you'd have a better chance, but I'm not so sure Sony's ready to just go in full bore with a Amazing Spider-Man 3.
It would be very expensive as well.
Yeah.
So I think they would rather hedge their bets and do some more Spider-Man team-ups. That I think is going to happen.
I think Spider-Man 4 is really going to set you up for like a Secret Wars thing, or unless that one comes after Secret Wars, to where I would not be surprised if they kind of dive into the Spider-Verse business in the Spider-Man universe. Because, I mean, we got confirmation yesterday of something I reported a while back, in that they have made little to no movement on Spider-Verse 3.
The cartoon?
Yeah. Even though the movie was a hit, for some reason, as I reported a while back, even though people are like, oh, no, they've already done the voices, they're moving forward. I'm like, have they? Because I'm hearing other things.
Thrilled with 2.
Well, what's funny is how much it did at the box office, and they didn't jump right into part 3 right away. I'm wondering what's the holdup. I don't get it. I wonder if they're going to try and find a way to mix the animated Spider-Verse in with the live action Tom Holland, so they can get Miles Morales out of the animated version into live action.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying for something like that.
Because otherwise, why would you have a part 2 with a cliffhanger and not have already started production or simultaneously produced the films? It makes zero sense.
Well, I think it's because they realized that Miles Morales was not a lesbian, black, non-binary, and they couldn't go ahead.
Weird.
They went, damn, he's just a straight black dude. Shit. Screwed that up.
Well,
how are we going to proceed? And he's not fat.
He has a fat friend, though. Does that count?
That's right. You could merge with him, but he's Asian. Yeah. That's white adjacent.
Yeah. But to Mecca J's question here, I guess yesterday this came out. As far as we know, I think they've gotten a greenlit, but they have made very little progress. And it's kind of been the same thing with Spider-Man 4, right? Like, there's been talks and talks and talks, but there's been very little progress. So I don't know if Amy Pascal's holding shit up again or what.
We will let you all know when.
Yeah, we would love to dig into that if we had more info. Yeah.
Honestly, the most interesting question in the second movie was Gwen. I thought way more interesting character.
Yeah, too bad they killed her.
Satan's Retribution sends in 14 South African rands and says Paramount TV is going bust party.
Well, they're just turning it off. I don't know if it's going bust per se. They're shutting it down. Is that going bust?
Not exactly. Yeah, because we covered this last night, and it's really strange, and I can't wait to talk to like Valiant this weekend about this, because we almost were kind of talking about what we're kind of setting up what could be happening here, because you have Warner Brothers that's been shifting and moving some things around. Paramount has now moved anything that was under Paramount Television over to CBS Television. So it's not like a bunch of stuff's been shut down. Like, as far as I know, almost all the productions are still going. They've just moved them under the CBS production banner. So it's like, as far as the actors and the productions themselves, they probably won't notice any change whatsoever. It'll just be the office suites, if that makes sense. Unless you think otherwise, Andre, because in my prediction or my assumption here is that I think they might be setting up things for CBS for when they do the merger, they can get rid of CBS easily. And I think Warner Brothers might be the people to come after it. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds the most plausible to me.
And I think that's also why they're making some moves over at Warner Brothers too, because I don't know how the regulatory commission is going to deal with them having, say, 3 or 4 children's networks and stuff like that. So that might be why Boomerang has been rumored to be getting shut down and stuff like that too. I've been hearing some behind the scenes stuff. So you never know. But on that note, Paramount does have one franchise under its belt that may be getting another film from its creator. Isn't that right, Andre?
Indeed, it is. And it's a franchise that we thought was long over, but it isn't. It's getting a new animated installment on Netflix in just a couple of weeks here. And now James Cameron, its originator, is threatening even more. So, Tom, what am I talking about here?
He said, "I'll be back." Anyway, so yeah. Well, James was actually somewhat involved in the last Terminator film, if you'll recall. He actually came up with some of the story. In fact, he was supposedly, or I think proclaimed to be the one who said, yeah, kill John Connor off in the first few minutes. And this is how you're going to do it. So yeah, this is to me a bad bit of news, because he's been teasing this now for a while, but he's got a very tight-lipped classified Terminator project that he's been in the pre-production on, or in the development of, I guess you would say. It was like either 6 months to a year back, he said, if I were to do another Terminator film and maybe try to launch that franchise again, which is in discussion, but nothing has been decided, I would make it much more about the AI side of it, and then Bad Robot's Gone Crazy. Okay, so that was his quote from a while back. But then recently he was asked about it, and he said, where's the quote here? Okay, here it is. He was asked about his own Terminator stuff, and he said, unfortunately, the filmmaking remains tight-lipped, and he isn't spilling the beans on what it is. He said it's totally classified. I don't want to have to send out a potentially dangerous robotic agent if you were to talk about it even retroactively. So yeah, I think he's kind of taking ownership there, that he's definitely going to be working on some Terminator project here in the future.
And remember, he is right now the legal owner of the franchise. And then at the moment he got it, he instantly licensed it out to Skydance, who proceeded who went on to make Terminator Woke Fate. But now evidently it's reverted back to him again, or maybe he's working with Skydance some more, who knows. But either way, he appears to be doing something else in the Terminator multiverse, focused on AI, which I have to say I think is a really awful idea, and he should let it go, because just like Alien seemingly needs to be protected from Ridley Scott, Terminator maybe needs protecting from James Cameron. That certainly is the impression that I get, because the influence he had over Terminator Woke Fate certainly didn't do any favors for that movie. So I'm like, unless you are going to go back to Dark Horse Comics and do the Tempest miniseries, there's nothing to do here. Terminator has been told. It's 2 movies, and just leave it at that. Nothing else has worked. So we now have almost 2 decades of actually it's 20 years, more than 20 years, because Terminator 3 came out in 2003, right?
Was it 03 or 04?
Yeah, so basically I think it was, it may have been 2004. No,
all I remember was 4th of July. That's all I remember.
So basically, we now have 2 consecutive decades of non-stop Terminator failures. Every single time they have tried to brush dust off of that franchise without one single success. So why should we be excited about James Cameron trying to make another one when I've even lost count of how many movies there have been? I know there's 2 good ones, and that's all I need.
Are we on 6 now or 5?
Two very good ones.
2 very, very good ones. And then we have then there's Terminator 3, there's Salvation, there's Sega Genesis, and Woke Fate. So a total of 6. We're up to 6 movies, of which 2 are watchable. And 3
and 2 TV shows.
Yeah, the upcoming animated plus the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Yep. And ironically, Sarah Connor Chronicles was better than any of the movies post the second one.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm with you on this, Andre. Like, other than maybe the first 3 or 4, I could care less. And even then, 3 and 4, I'd have to sit there and, dissect and say what I do like and dislike about them. But yeah, I agree with you guys. Basically, it's a 2-movie franchise, and as much as I even love the second one, I kind of have to accept the third one, because otherwise, the second movie leaves the movies on a paradox. I don't know if you guys have ever thought of that, because if they stopped Judgment Day, then John Connor wouldn't exist. So he should have just.
This is the time travel,
but it's still, in reality, if you think about it, if they actually stop Judgment Day at the end of Terminator 2 like they think they did, John Connor should just disappear like Michael J. Fox was disappearing in Back to the Future.
Well, it depends on the time travel rules in question.
Well, in technical terms, if you think about it, though, he would never have been born because his father would have never been sent back in time to protect his mother, because Judgment Day never happened.
It depends on if it's one universe or a multiverse.
And that's where you get into stupid multiverse shit. But that's why I don't mind having part 3, because at least part 3 leaves the ending of, no matter what we do, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It can be delayed, but it's still going to happen, right? Like, so I like that idea of closing off the time paradox loop, basically.
I just wish that the original.
Which number was Salvation?
4.
Which is, that one's okay for like the first 2/3, and then the last third is where it goes off the rails with the AI.
Well, the problem is it's just a repeat. It's a rinse and repeat of the premise.
In a new timeline.
No.
Kind of, basically, yeah.
Yeah. It's not the war that started it all.
I get it. The branch timeline, multiverse stuff. I get it. But by Einstein's logic and all that kind of stuff of time travel, though, let's be real.
Einstein was for the multiverse.
Yeah, that was fine. But I believe more in linear time. I don't buy this multiverse bullshit. I'm sorry. That's just
so basically, you go with Back to the Future rules.
Number 3 was with the chick Terminator.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was kind of more or less a retread of 2.
Kristana Loken Terminator.
Which was basically a remake of part 1. So you got a carbon copy of a carbon copy. But that's what I'm saying. The ending is the part of it that I like. The other thing I like about it is that the chick is able to control other machines. So that adds a level of, that Arnie can be controlled by her. Right. So that aspect I didn't mind too.
Yeah, but that made it completely false. A woman that knows how to use machinery like that. I couldn't believe it.
Sexist.
Well, how
The
about
machinery
this,
part,
then?
no, but she sure does know how to use control, Paul.
And she was hot looking in the leather outfit.
I mean, come on, the boob thing was kind of ingenious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all in all, not too excited for this movie. If anything, I wish that James Cameron would do a movie on the Titan submersible. That would be a much better use of his time than another Terminator. It's my personal opinion. But we're not completely done with James Cameron.
Yeah, 'cause
he
funny
had
that
some
he would-
words for cinephiles, didn't he?
Yeah, because it's funny that he would choose AI as the main focus of the bad guy in his new film, because you would think the guy who has, you know, kind of wrote the book on not trusting AI, right, and how it could destroy the world, tends to use it now to remaster his films. And yeah, so I think this meme sums it up. James Cameron today. Is it my fault that films look like crap? No, it's the fans' fault for noticing. Yeah, because for those who don't know what we're talking about here, I'm going to bring up this quote, but basically James was asked about his recent remasters of The Abyss, True Lies, and Aliens. And James had to jump to the some of the worst insults you can give to cinephiles and nerds such as ourselves, especially ones who are worried about preservation and not revising history, as you would say, Andre. I know you really hate that. To the point where you'll sometimes stick with a DVD resolution version of a movie just because you don't. Yeah. So I'm trying to find the quote here because it's not in the original interview, or it's not in that one I brought up. It's in a different interview here.
Because a slightly further background, of course, is that James Cameron has overseen AI remasters of his most classical movies, some of which never even got a full domestic Blu-ray release. So they went straight from DVD to 4K. And then, of course, you really want the 4K to look amazing. But that 4K was basically... AI was a big part of refurnishing it for movies such as True Lies and Aliens and The Abyss.
So for what he did, basically, for those who are curious what Andre's saying, is instead of actually scanning the original negatives in 4K, as you do normally for these restorations, right? He went and took what was in Aliens case, a 15-year-old scan. In the Abyss and True Lies case, somewhere between a 5 and 10-year-old scan that were scanned in 2K resolution, and just used an AI program to convert them to 4K. Okay? And then he went and stripped all of the grain out of them because he don't like grain. And he recolor timed them. Now, remember a few years back, people were complaining about Terminator 2 looking waxy. And they're like, oh, it was because he used the 3D version on the Blu-ray. That's why. I said, no, that is the way he wants it to look. And here we are a few years later, and he's released 3 of his movies finally for the first time, for 2 of them ever on Blu-ray, as you just pointed out, Andre. And he has done the same goddamn thing to him, only worse because he uses this AI upconvert shit. All right, so his response to what people are saying about this is, when people start reviewing your grain structure, they need to move out of their mom's basement and meet somebody, right? I'm serious. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? I've got a great team that does the transfers. I do all the color and density work. I look at every shot, every frame, and then final transfer is done by a guy who's been with me for years. All the Avatar films are done that way. Everything is done that way. Get a life, people. Seriously. Oh, God, there's a whole lot wrong with that, but you were about to say something on it.
Yeah, the people that he says it's time to move out to your mother's basement are cinephiles. They are the people who are worried about grain structure. These are successful people that very often work within media and in film preservation in some capacity. That's why they care about it, because they understand it. They understand the composition of film and how important the grain is. And then for him to basically say it's time to get out of your basement, these are the lead film preservists and enthusiasts and feinschmeckers in the world. They're the ones that actually know this stuff. Whereas he comes across as some Rachel Zegler. He comes across as Rachel Zegler by saying stuff like this.
And just a visual example for people. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like he's not the person that should be in any way in charge of preserving his own movies, because he's not fit to do it. Just like Neil Gaiman shouldn't be the person to adapt Sandman for Netflix, because he is no longer the person he was when he created those stories. So he's recreating them in the image of how he would have created them today. And that is exactly what James Cameron is doing here as well. He is not preserving his vision from when he made the movies. He's come up with a brand new vision for today, and that is what he is bringing to life in 4K. Using AI technology and upscaling and altering color timing. I mean, this is basically Han shot first all over again. And that is why I will never get any of his 4K Blu-rays, because luckily you actually have fans who know how to do this, who can take the original or can take like these releases and fix them to the extent of which they can be fixed and restore them to where they should have been.
Well, basically, like as I had on screen here, I was looking for a better version of it that I could zoom in on, but for some reason, the way Reddit is, it won't let you. But yeah, as you see here, this on the left here, this is from an old, I believe it's 1080i version of the film, because True Lies happened to actually get some love on the HD VHS format for some fucking reason. So there's that version going around. There's a broadcast version going around, which I'm pretty sure is from the same scan. And then you have on the right here, which is James Cameron's new AI up-converted versions of them, which is probably from the same exact scan, because he didn't rescan the movie. And basically what you can see here, I don't know if you can notice it because of the screen size or whatever, but all the detail in like Tom's face is gone. Obviously not just the color, but like the actual skin texture, his hairs. Like if you notice here on the right, all his wrinkles and stuff on his face have now been smoothed out, and it looks like abnormal and weird.
It looks like AI generated art.
Yes,
that's what it looks like.
And it's kind of combined all his hair together and stuff. Same thing with Arnold here. Like, look at his hair here. Holy shit.
That's why I'll be sticking with the image to the left. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and this is sad, because normally 4K would make this image on the left look like shit if you do it correctly.
I haven't seen much in the way of 4K versions of anything that I've liked. It's just way too clean.
Oh, I love a great 4K master.
I don't like the detail. I don't need it.
And honestly, it shouldn't look that clean. It shouldn't look that clean either. So that's the thing, is they go through this manipulation of these movies. And this is not just James Cameron. This goes across the board. Unless it's a transfer that's done by Arrow Films, or Vinegar Syndrome, or Sony at this point, I don't trust anybody. Because I've seen so much weird shit that we're at this point, Paul, and this is not just delegated to 4K, because what they're basically doing is taking techniques they used to use for Blu-ray and DVD and using them here when you don't need to, right? Because you did it there because, yeah, you want to do a little bit of noise reduction, because if it's a little grainy on Blu-ray, that's going to look even worse and make everything look all, you know, it's not going to look pleasing to the eye. It's not going to look as smooth as you would expect a HD picture to look. So yes, you're going to need some grain reduction and a few other things on your standard DVD, especially, and on Blu-ray. But when it comes to 4K, you want to leave as much of that grain alone, because that grain is your detail. And once you start pulling that out, once you start manipulating that, that's when it starts getting this waxy, weird look, like you forgot to turn this smooth motion shit off on your TV. And
yeah, which is why I searched high and low for a 720p plasma TV, and that's what I got.
And you're happy with that? That's cool, Paul.
I'm just saying, the movies look like movies on it.
But
That's
see,
what
now
I
me,
like.
like when I've seen real, true, good 4K transfers, I'll never be able to go back, right? Like that's the problem. But then, you know, the ones that they do real horrible jobs on are stuck in this kind of weird limbo right now. It's like, I wish they would just release the raw scan files to the fans. Because like Andre said, a lot of us know how to do this shit better than they do. Because James Cameron's sitting there bragging about the guy he's worked with. You know what movies that guy has worked on? Avatar and Avatar 2.
That's good enough for him.
But that's my point. Motherfucker's probably never even seen film before.
Yeah, not a great start for doing preservations of older
And
movies.
most of the modern TVs also have this weird remove grain feature.
And that's kind of what they're doing.
Which turns everything into, looking like some kind of talk show TV. You have to turn.
Yep.
Makes it look like Madame Tussauds as well, like wax figures.
And that's what we're talking about, Paul. So what they'll do is they'll do that, and then they'll add a thin layer of fake grain on top of that. And I'm not kidding. This is exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? What are you doing?
Well, it's controlled grain.
Yeah.
And then in anything that has been recorded in digital format, never had any grain.
So you know what they're doing for that now, Paul? Because this was made. Because I'm sure you saw this for Horizon. Because Kevin Costner didn't like how Horizon looked because it was shot on digital. So what he had them do is scan it out onto film and then rescan that film back into the computer.
That's not unusual.
It's stupid, though, if you ask me. No. Why don't you just shoot it on film and scan it into the computer? Cuts out all the middleman bullshit work. I get it, because it's so much easier to shoot on film and you got a lot more. I get it. I'm not gonna argue that point. I get you have a lot more freedom. But if you want it to look a certain way, that's why Quentin Tarantino and what's his face, who does the goofy movies with Bill Murray and all those guys all the time. Paul Anderson and those guys still shoot on film because they want a specific look. They know they can't get that look with digital. So they're not even going to bother. But what Tarantino will do is he'll shoot it on film, scan it into the computer, and edit it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what most people do. But, being able to shoot something at 8K and have more flexibility in your zooming in and editing.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
And then output it to film. I've seen that more often than you think.
Oh, I know. And I get it boggles my brain. They basically did the new South Park 4K the same way. I'm like, why did you do that? The original files are digital. Just do a digital transfer. Like, what the hell are you doing? If you're going to do that, because then you don't have to do any of this manipulation on the picture or anything. It's like, if you want it to look like film, make it look like film. Okay, fine. But if you're going to go through the process of scanning the film and then doing all the digital noise reduction and all the shit that we just talked about, why didn't you just take the original files? Like, because that's what they did for the Blu-rays. They actually went back to the first 3 or 4 seasons of South Park that weren't in HD, and they re-rendered them in widescreen HD. So you can't tell me that they don't probably have those original files sitting around for the South Park movie.
Sure. I mean, there are some revelatory moments, for instance, when you see the original Star Trek, which we all saw just on TV, and then having them scan the original 35 mil footage and then getting that on DVD, that was revelatory. I mean, that's beautiful.
Well, and that's just it. To me, like a movie like Jaws and some of the best Sony, like see Lawrence of Arabia in 4K and you might change your mind, Paul.
Yeah, maybe.
See, that's the thing. The right movies, 2001, for instance, and I don't even think they have all the negative left for 2001, and it still looks amazing in 4K.
Well, I think that's an amazing point. I saw Back to the Future in 4K. It was horrible. It was just way too clean. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Well, that's one I haven't watched in a while. I have to see if that has a lot of digital manipulation or not. I'm not sure on that one. Universal's kind of a hit and miss.
But, we have our memories, and not everybody knows what film is anymore. I mean, the young kids out there have pretty much never seen anything shot on film.
Yeah, no, they don't know. They don't care.
No. No. Yeah.
No, and that's the thing is guys like Tarantino and such know that film captures light and images different than digital does. And we've talked about that many a times before, but no, it just bothers me. And then this mother's basement bullshit. It's like, motherfucker, I live in my own basement.
I can afford my own basement.
Yeah.
That's a bit disingenuous for him to say that too, because over the years, he has been very much a technophile.
I was just going to say he's a tech nerd himself. That's bullshit. Yeah.
And to suddenly turn on the people who represents a pretty good chunk of his fan base because of who he is, and the stuff that he's produced in terms of ancillary, scenes of how did we shoot this, and we all love Terminator 2 and taking it apart, and how did they do the silver guy. I mean, this is the liquid policeman. These were all things that were important to us, and I think James Cameron, and now to suddenly turn on us, that is really weird.
Oh, he must have struck a nerve. I can't imagine otherwise.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he's just being lazy, if you ask me, because that's the thing. It's like you're not even doing the work, right? It's bad enough that you put him out there, but don't say something like this if you're not even going to do the work, because basically that's what you're doing is you're saying, oh, well, fuck you, just because you noticed I didn't do the work. That's why I put that meme up right away, because that's basically what he's doing right now. He's just saying, well, it's your fault for noticing how shitty a job I did. And what do you know? I'm James fucking Cameron. And James fucking Cameron can do what James fucking Cameron wants to do. Right? He's literally become the South Park meme. And I loved his classic films. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash the guy, because that's what bothers me, Paul, is you hit the nail on the head. This guy used to be one of the biggest tech nerds out there.
Yeah, was one of us. We thought so.
At least we thought, yeah. And then Titanic happened. And since then, he's been living in blue people land and saying, yeah, go ahead and fucking kill John Connor.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is this guy? It ain't James Cameron. And then the other part, that bothers me is the part where he said maybe these people should go out and meet somebody. You are the last motherfucker on earth to be talking about relationships.
And you know what?
You know how many divorces he's had?
Yeah, but no. What he's done is a make work program for women.
Yeah, be his director, star, and producer, get married, and then divorce him while he goes with the next trainee.
That's right. So don't say anything about men not doing anything for women.
I believe that's kind of like the whole what Me Too thing was all about. But yeah.
Yeah, he's had 5 wives.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. He was married to Gail Ann Hurd, and that's why she has part of the Terminator franchise.
Right.
So he got screwed over in that respect. He was married to Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton.
Yes, he was.
He was married to, I think, Catherine Bigelow for a while.
Yeah.
And then who's the other one he was married to? Help me out here.
I forget her name, but she's the chick in the Titanic movie. She's the one who plays the daughter of Rose. I believe that is his wife to this day.
I think you're right, but I can't remember her name. Yes. Yeah, and she's a huge activist too. On top of it, and that's where I think a lot of it. Yeah, Linda Hamilton used to whoop his ass. Sorry.
Yeah, I think a woman will change a guy.
Yeah,
some more than others.
So anyhow, we do have a couple other things to get into. What else did we have here, Andre? What did you want to do next?
Well, we have the topic that is now in the thumbnail. There's a new book that has come out, isn't it?
Oh yes, I discovered this yesterday. At least I was the one who thought I discovered it anyway. I was the first one to post it as far as I knew.
Well, it's a book, so it's kind of like out there. But
it is. It's out there, but I mean, like, it came to my attention first, is what I'm saying. Because I actually still frequent Facebook once in a while, because that's where I found this. But yeah, Captain America, Brave New World, a hero who looks like you. from Kwambe Mbalia and Nicholas Smith. And it says here on the caption, show your little ones they can be heroes too. With the heartwarming picture book, A Hero Looks Like You set in the world of Marvel Studios. Get a sneak peek inside the book and pre-order yours now. Yeah, see? Comes out January 7th. Interesting date. The day after January 6th. Yeah. Isn't there something in this movie that's supposed to be like a comment on January 6th? Wasn't that?
Yeah, there was. Who knows if there still is after all of the reshoots? I know that they probably took out the presidential assassination attempt that was or supposedly was.
I was gonna say, I think I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, here we have a book. It looks a little bit manipulative and oddly self-serving for Marvel, I gotta say.
Identity politics, it's like, it's so tiresome.
Yeah, and why didn't if there's somebody else basically made the same point I was making yesterday on a stream when I brought this up. By their logic, Falcon already should have been the most famous Marvel character. Because he's black. So
yeah, but he hadn't taken over the white man's job, so he wasn't really a hero. It's only the moment that happened. I mean, that's like the whole ideology here. This thing that can't have your own. It was kind of a trick, but yeah. Yeah, can't have your own original. Well, that came out wrong. Can't have an original character that was created from the ground up, which you had in Falcon, which is why Anthony Mackie is beloved as Falcon. Everyone loves Falcon. I watched the hell out of a Falcon movie, but I don't necessarily want to see him as Captain America any more than I would want Jeremy Renner as Captain America. I mean, I'd equal both, or protest to both, because there's one Captain America. None of them is Steve Rogers. But the moment he takes over the Steve Rogers mantle, that's when we get books like this, which to me seems very self-serving and a little bit manipulative on Disney's behalf.
Yep. And they already had Black Panther, and I mean, Falcon was established in 1969. And I think he has I think he is the first major black superhero. I mean, I think there was a couple before that, but I mean, as far as like, I mean, you know, Marvel or DC.
You know what would be funny is if they get Mackie to take over all the Marvel characters. He's Falcon, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk. Thor, just and Anthony Mackie is. You know, it's all of them. We've just decided that
Black Widow,
everything. Yes, he could be the even blacker Widow.
So yeah, we got a little look inside the book here.
Yeah. Oh God, they gave him the gap. Oh my God.
Do you want me to read a little bit of this?
No.
Okay.
Oh, just move on here through the pages.
Captain America, I shouted, pointing at the stage. Captain America is my favorite superhero because, not because Sam Wilson looks like me, he does. Well, that his shield is super cool, it is. No, Cap is my favorite superhero because he always helps others. Well, he helped others when he was white too, motherfucker. What the fuck?
Yeah, but he only helped white people.
Well, I think that is something that all of the superheroes do, is help others.
Well, part of the challenge is if you look at the YA landscape right now, every single book is transgender, black, lesbian, non-binary. There isn't this. You couldn't if you wrote a straight up white YA book, it would not get published.
Like Twilight.
Yes.
You couldn't get that published today.
Right now. So, and that's a pretty huge landscape. I don't know. I mean, if people are actually purchasing, but if you are, if you tried to write Twilight now, you'd fail. And I'm just wondering, this is all part of that whole universe.
Yeah. Well, I say good on them and just release it, and then we'll
Yeah,
see how much it sells.
that's right.
And let the audience vote with their wallets, like
No,
they
no, you
will
know who's
do
going
for
to
the
vote?
movie itself.
The libraries of schools.
This is the issue. It's
That's the
scholastic
problem.
because they are the ones who basically are the Dominion voting machines and who will rig the results and make it artificially profitable
Yep.
just because of them.
Yep.
So basically, they make this stuff only for the libraries to get them and no one to ever read them. Very
Correct.
profitable business model, but something that someone really needs to look into, because I mean that's a worse kind of gaming, isn't it? Use a system that is meant to preserve and release stuff exclusively so that you profit from that. I mean, that's a loophole that someone needs to close.
Well, the libraries won't buy any books unless they are filled with identity politics.
Oh, really? They won't do that now either.
Pardon me?
Oh, they won't do that now either.
Yeah.
God.
So that to me, that's what this book is aimed at, is the school libraries, the school libraries.
Well, no, that's the way Disney has done a lot of this stuff. They've manipulated programs and schools and inner city schools, and that's the thing. Is like I wouldn't care if they were buying the inner city schools tickets to go see, giving them free tickets to go see Black Panther. Oh no, that's not how that worked. What they did was they found youth programs who would donate the money to buy the tickets and bust these kids in, right? So they're still getting the money like a ticket bought and sold, right? And that's the same thing they did with Shang-Chi, and that's the same thing they did with Captain Marvel, and they tried to do it again with the Marvels. And then people wonder why we sit here and go, well, we kind of noticed there was a lot of empty seats, yet this somehow made $1 billion. Now, I'm not saying that Black Panther was that bad. See, Black Panther, I think, overperformed because they tried to pad it, and it caught the wave of, right time, right place.
Right movie. It also was, let's not deny it, Black Panther was the right movie. I think it actually really was an important movie. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that Marvel ever did was not recasting T'Challa. Because T'Challa, like you see how this kid right here, he's admiring Black Captain America. He should be admiring Black Panther. And there would have been nothing at all wrong with that. But Marvel killed him off. They killed the character, and they didn't have to. I mean, the Rings of Power, they just recast Sauron, apparently, and no one noticed. Because no one
Honestly, I think it would be more powerful if he liked...
on here.
I would actually think this statement would be more powerful if it was just regular Captain America. Or a white kid in Black Panther. Like, why does it have to be... And this is the line, and this is why I read this out. This is the thing that sticks out to me more than anything. Is they're even throwing the shit like, not because Sam Wilson looks like me. He does, in parentheses. Or that his shield is super cool. It is. No, Cap is my favorite hero because he helps others. Well, so did the original. Like we said, all of them do.
Yeah. Go back to that picture from the bus with all the... There was one thing that really annoyed me there. Look there. The one who's pretending to be Thor holding the hammer. Blonde, long blonde hair. So are we suggesting that only blonde kids can be into Thor? Is that what we're suggesting here?
Actually, that's a girl, I think.
So are we suggesting that only blonde girls can be into Lady Thor? What if it's a brunette girl? What if it's a Latina? Are they not allowed to like Thor? I mean, yeah. This is kind of like the issues that you get into for this really self-serving, rather manipulative piece of publication that it's just something that they say is meant to be empowering, but it's just self-serving for them. Just like all of these campaigns of having ideal organizations pay to buy the corporations tickets so that people can go see their movies, rather than to give free tickets for the schools and everything like that. It's
what this reminds me of, actually? This reminds me of, and I don't know if you'll have this issue necessarily, or you can relate to this at all, Andre, or I don't know if this was even a thing like when you were in school yet, Paul, because you guys probably just played baseball and shit. But like, when we were younger, we would play things like superheroes, you know, and stuff like that. And there would always be that one asshole, you know, if like, you know, who would tell the black kid, well, you can't be so-and-so because you're black. And then, of course, all the rest of us would stand up and say, who gives a shit? Right? And then all the rest of us would move on. Yeah. Right? This is the equivalent of Disney saying, you cannot relate to so-and-so unless they're black. You can't be that character unless you're this. And I agree with you, Andre, 100% on what you're saying. And that's kind of what they're doing, is the equivalent of that.
Yeah. So not a huge fan, but again, they can put it out there and then let the people decide. But unfortunately, Scholastic is the minion in this equation. So yeah, they found a way to game the system, didn't they?
Well, and it pisses me off even more because they take a character like Captain America, who's supposed to love America for better or worse, flaws and all, and they make him a character who's going to hate America. Because that's what this next movie is going to be about, is America's corrupt. We need some black man to save us from the corruption of America.
Well, we'll see when we get the movie. Who knows? I'm sure that's what it was when it was filmed initially. Let's see what it is by the time it comes out. It's gone to 3 rounds of reshoots, so we'll see. We'll see what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't think anybody's going to be buying this. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get into Super Chats here. We got Packing Proton sending in another $5. Thank you for being so supportive. Says, modified Donatello line from TMNT3 thought it was a layup, not a showstopper, I think he means, but yeah. Vincent 207 says with $1.99, don't knock mom's basements, the rent's cheap. Oh, that's true. And you got to do your own laundry though. Master Clockwork sends in 5 and says the only way superhero would like me is if they made Wolverine chubby. I got the short and hairy part, though I'm not Canadian, just cranky. Yeah, I'm basically fat Deadpool, so welcome to my world. I know what you mean. So I'd be Fat Pool. We have Paulie joining us, primping his mustache like a villain.
Hey, Paulie, how's it going?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How's my mic? Am I doing okay?
Yeah, you're looking great and you're sounding equally good.
Orale, what's going on, man?
We're just finishing up Super Chats here.
Yeah. Obviously, I want to promote something that's coming on in about a half hour. But I wanted to if I could comment on Captain America.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, it's pretty. Let's just be honest, right? That whole campaign and what I just saw, it's pretty racist, man. It's pretty degrading. It's lazy. It's low end. And you guys brought up a great point with T'Challa and how important, obviously, that movie was and how well it did. And that was a big misstep that they just didn't recast T'Challa and move forward with him. And then you got, you know, that garbage of Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, or as I like to call it, keep the water Mexicans out of Wakanda forever.
Man, that was a huge reaction from Mexican Iron Man on that's just epic for the ages. But he's not wrong, is that here you have finally this indigenous Mexican iteration of Namor. It's not really Namor, right? They just I was willing to check it out, but the first shot of him was like his back. I kid you not, chat. His back was wet and he was coming out of the water, and he was a stranger to the queen. Who are you? How did you get here?
Yeah, it's worse. He came out of the river. He had just
came out of the river.
And it's like, you're not supposed to be here. How did you cross my border?
So
wet back with your wet back and everything. I have to give credit to Pablo, who did some excellent analysis there, pointing out things I didn't see. We did a great clip on that back in the day. I mean, yeah, it's one of the most racist things I've ever seen in a film, in that movie.
But it's still going on, and like what Tom was saying, it's worse. It's worse now. because you went from Steve Rogers to this, and I think we all like Anthony Mackie's Falcon.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Loved his Falcon, but this is hot garbage, man. And again, it's like here where it's coming from. It's supposed to be from like, you know, very liberal-minded and creative and open Hollywood. Man, I can't think of anything more racist,
minded and racist, yeah,
more racist than this content, than this what they've put out. But it's not surprising, guys. We've seen it. We've seen it in the last couple of years because they want to control all the narratives. You know, you put up that book, and like you said, or even that image again, and they would not know what to do with anything really pure and original because it takes extra work, right? Takes extra work, takes a little heavy lifting. And Hero Like You, so it's using that image of Uncle Sam, we want you, but it's they're changing the Uncle Sam into right,
Uncle
into this
Tom?
guy, into
Ooh.
Captain Sam, and then a hero like we want you to a hero like you. Tell me you're not creative by telling me you're not creative.
Yeah, and also like just from me, just from an outside, what I really don't like is like this focus on has to be someone that looks like you, because that to me that is just really underlying or building up on difference. No, you can only like and identify with people who look like you.
Like I was saying, it's like schoolyard bullshit.
Yeah, creating some artificial sense of otherness. You know, one of my favorite heroes, Blade. Blade is freaking awesome. Wesley Snipes, man. I mean, give us a new Blade movie. I want a new Blade trilogy with Wesley Snipes right now. Old man Blade. Pretty freaking awesome.
You know what I didn't say when I walked out of Blade?
Really quick with Blade and Wesley, they got the biggest reaction in the movie theater.
I know, right?
Biggest reaction. I mean, people flipped out.
Yeah.
Why? Because they loved his Blade.
You know what?
It's
actually had good memories of Garner too.
Those are false memories. No one liked that.
No.
She was okay in Daredevil, though.
I agree. I'm just saying
you got to stop with that camera angle, Paul. It really, you know, I don't like. Thank you. Be more.
Sit up straight is what they say.
Sit up
and lazy
and take the camera away from your, you know, like this.
No, but you know what I didn't say when I walked out of Blade? God damn, it's amazing that Blade was black. I'm so glad he was black. I'm so happy to see a black superhero on screen. I didn't say any of those fucking things.
No,
that movie kicked ass. Awesome. That's what I said.
But you go back to your schoolyard analogy, and you're right on point because we were always like being different people. You know, oh yeah, Polly, you can play Captain America. There'll be some dipshit say, man, but he's a beaner or he's a Mexican, and everyone be like, shut the fuck up, la 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 la. Come on, let's go. That's how it was. That's how kids are, right?
Yeah.
That's just and we love that experience, and you grow from it, and you find your real friends. But on the most part, just people were cool. This is not.
Yeah.
And if you point it out, you're racist. You know, you're a Theo Taco or an Uncle Tom.
That's what I don't like, because that's the manipulation here. It's like, but we're just being virtuous. We're so good. How can anyone complain about this? And that's the manipulation.
Yeah.
You were saying, Paul.
Well, I was just going to say, we've discussed this before. Hollywood's idea of diversity is binary. It's either black or rainbow. That's the bullshit. That's the Hollywood's lie when it comes, and I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's their lie about diversity. There are 70 million people who identify as Latino in the United States and about 35 to 40 million who identify as black.
So me and Tom always talk about, you know, music and stuff we always connect with. And Tom, I mean, I swear to God, like I think Tom's Mexican half the time because he loves La Bamba. He loves that music. He loves Lou Diamond Phillips. And that's how it should be. It's like, it's just like, these were great films that stood on their own. The characters.
If a mariachi band started playing down the road, I'd be like, I gotta go.
So we have a guest on, guys, and it connects because he's Midnight's Edge Espanol. It's going to be English and Spanish interview. We have a filmmaker who went and recreated luchador, old Mexican wrestler film. It's like as if he's unearthed new. It's like he's unearthed classic luchador films and classic battles, and he's made a new film. Yeah, he's made a new film out of that. What a great idea. Why don't you give Marvel? Why don't you give someone like that a shot? But they would never do it, right? They would never do it. And you even have it in your catalog, El Muerto. You even have those but they're just, they're also afraid too of being too racial at this point. Like those people were afraid of Speedy Gonzalez and his accent. They asked Fluffy Gabriel Iglesias, "Can you tone? What do you think of the accent?" "Oh yeah, it's fine." "But don't you find it racist?" "No, that's my uncle." They actually wanted him to stop the accent. It's the same garbage. Do me a favor. Don't be a wocoso, but don't be a pendejo, right? If you really want to be diverse, then you give some of that creative power up. That's what they're not willing to do, and they won't do it. Or you have to comply to all the rules. So again, we're going to have an original content creator, an original filmmaker. That is really where we need to put our energy in, guys. And
I found a different angle.
Oh God.
Yeah. And Paulie, how awesome would it have been if Santos had made a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, among the others there? But anyway, yeah. So check that out in Midnight's Edge Espanol. This stream is going to redirect to there when it's over.
Great.
We have a couple of more super chats to go through, so we're going to do that right away. You want to be here for that, Paulie, or are you going to go and prepare the stream?
Yeah, I do got to head out, and I do really appreciate all the Midnighters, the Midnight's Edge Familia, Somos Familia. You got Tom, you got Andre, you got Chato. Chato is like the annoying cousin, but we still put up with him because we still love him.
The annoying old Tio, you mean?
The Tio.
Yeah.
Can you
more
do
like
me
a creepy
favor,
uncle.
Ollie? Can you please get Rachel Ziegler out of doing films and represent the Latino community? Can you please get her out? I'm just saying.
Listen. She did the worst thing that you can do as an actor. She's attacking her own kind. You don't do that. She's gone full Leguizamo. There's no helping her right now.
Yeah.
I even did a video a few months, like less than a month ago. 5 ways, Ziegler, you can help yourself out. And she was doing it for a while, but now she's gone full loca. And to attack Gal, passive aggressive, you just don't do that shit. You don't, man. And it's really like there's no defense for her.
I bet Disney can't wait until Snow White is out and done with.
There's no defense, guys. I mean, Ziegler is gone bonkers, and yeah.
What can you say? I'm just saying. So if you could get her out of the community, that'd be great.
Well, okay, if we're going to talk about
that's not for Paul to do. I mean, people are just going to have to, or for Paulie. Sorry. Yeah. That's not something that Paulie can do. She's just going to have to. That's for her representation to sort out and to get burned their own way.
For Midnight's Edge, let's clip this because Ziegler brings in.
Oh yeah, totally.
So the problem with Ziegler is she is this prodigy, like you said, ingenue since she was 6, right? She's grown up in a bubble, and she's half Polish, half Colombian. So she has identified herself as a white Latino of privilege. Give me a break. You'd never hear Anya Taylor-Joy talk like that. You never hear Jenna Ortega talk like that. Why? Because it is about the work first. And oh yes, you're going to ask me secondary, tertiary questions about my ethnicity. Okay, cool. Anya Taylor-Joy just rattles herself off in pure Spanish because that's how she grew up. Ziegler and Ortega did not grow up like that, but Ortega You never hear her going against other actors, going against fan base, going against the lore of what she's doing. She loves what she's doing. She's even said, I don't want people to know so much about me, who I'm dating, what my ethnicity is, because it takes away the mystery of being an actor.
Right.
That is right there, Ziegler. And I've told you this. I've told you this, Ziegler, to shut the F up and just let your work speak for yourself, because you're actually very talented. But you keep shooting yourself in the foot from people who want to support you, who want to back you up, by all the just ridiculous stances that you have. Because ultimately, you're not endearing at this point. You're not endearing to fans, to people who don't know you. Ortega is, Anya Taylor-Joy is, Tom Cruise is. They have made themselves endearing to the movie-going audience. Enough said. There's your clip.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this just come out. This is another leak from D23 of the full Whistle While You Work song.
Ooh.
And Anna noticed the same thing I did. So instead of her cooking and cleaning as an offering for allowing her to remain safe and hidden with them, this version, she breaks in and forces them to cook and clean for her. And it's true. I watched the scene. That's exactly what she does. She hands out chores to all the fucking seven dwarfs who just got home from work.
Disney, though. Not
but see, that's Disney. And so if we're going to go back to that... But again,
it's more of the same bullshit, though.
No, it's even worse. It's even worse, because I say to you, if they're trying to get rid of the feminism of the story, good luck. But what they're saying is that I'm not going to clean for no man. Plus, I'm Latina. I'm a cleaning lady. No, you all going to clean. Let's change this around. I guarantee you that garbage is in there. I guarantee you, because I saw the same thing, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from there, too. Yeah, I totally get where that... Yeah, and that's what pissed me off when I saw that. I'm like, okay, so you're altering the story for the girl shit, and yeah, that aspect as well, I guess. You could put that in there, too.
She got the job because it's a singing job, and she was in West Side Story. That's why she got the job.
That's why she was there.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the story choice on
I'm
Disney's
just talking about why she's
that's Disney's choice. That's
But you see, I get that. Anyway. That I have no problem with that, right? Because she's actually very talented entertainer for this role. But she has not endeared herself to the lore of the fans, to the Snow White fans. She pretty much basically set it on fire on all her interviews. We're not doing that anymore. And we're probably going to cut you, buddy, but you're no longer the Prince Charming, because I don't need no Prince Charming. This is my... You just don't hear these other younger actors talking like that, the ones that have endeared themselves. The Sweeneys, the Ortegas, the Anya Taylor-Joys, the Hemsworth. Man, give me a break. And you keep doing that. Or Ziegler, you're gonna become Johnny Legs, where all you're doing is complaining about the next thing.
And I
get out of here, man. Get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
You do too. And so does Paul.
That is why she was hired by Disney for this role. But anyway, Paulie, thanks for your input. Everyone, check out Midnight's Edge Espanol afterwards. This stream will redirect there. We have a few more super chats to go through, but Paulie, thanks for being here. And
much love, everybody.
And and with that, let's go back to the top here.
Oh, you got more? Sorry, that was my fault. I don't have the top one. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I have them here. Packing Protons says...
Oh, we got this one.
Oh, we got this one. Oh, yeah, sorry. We did get this one.
How do you still have it and I don't? That's weird.
That StreamYard is weird sometimes.
It was acting up last night, too.
Yeah.
But we do have some Rumble rants. Okay, go ahead and bring up what you're going to bring up then first.
Yeah. Did we get this one? We did get this one. This is what started the whole debate.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we had Kalekioki over on the Rumble side who says, heard executives made fun of the animators who were on crunch while making the movie. They're having internal disputes. Rumor, don't quote me. I believe he was talking about this is the Spider-Verse. Yeah, because then he goes on to say with another Rumble rant in regards to the green lighting of Spider-Verse 3. Yeah, there was something going on right after part 2 happened and was successful. I'm like, how are they not going yet? And then one of the voice actors said, yeah, I haven't seen a script yet. or something like that. And I'm like, what do you mean you haven't seen a script? You should have recorded the lines already. Like, what, weren't they making this movie at the same time as the last one? Like, I was completely confused, and I guess evidently they did not. So this was a big snafu on whoever made that choice. Screwed up. The third film should be out right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like the Gwen film.
It should have come out this summer in order for it to be something. And then there are a couple of questions for me. Sean Estep says, Andre, do you know Prisoners of the Lost Universe with Richard Hatch and Kay Lentz? That was fun. What about The Watch? Actually, yeah, I know of that movie. I believe I have seen it. It was so unbelievably long ago that I have to rewatch it because I can't say I remember it. But I know of it. So thanks for the tip. Maybe I'll rewatch that at some point here. And speaking of watching, B-Man also wonders thoughts on The Thing. And it's not addressed specifically to me. So, Paul, have you seen The Thing? Not the original. Of course, you've seen that. Well, you may not have since you don't like horror. But the new Thing from 2011. The prequel to The Thing, dealing with the events in the Norwegian camp leading up to the original.
No, I saw the very original one. That was an excellent film. I saw John Carpenter's, which was also one of the best remakes of all time.
Indeed, yeah.
And then you guys actually featured it at the beginning of your show today.
Indeed, because the same people who have made a bunch of amazing documentaries, most recently Aliens Expanded, but also In Search of Tomorrow, In Search of Horror, all these epic retrospectives on the horror movies of the 80s, they are now making The Thing Expanded. That is what we showed the trailer of in the beginning here. I'm sure we can replay it of the end. And in the in both in the description and in the pinned comment, you will find the link for where you can get it. So you see, these are someone that have done some pretty amazing retrospectives. So we're excited for this one. But meanwhile, Tom, the 2011 movie The Thing, you must have seen it. What do you think about it?
I saw 5 minutes of it.
Right.
Shut it off. Rented it, stuck it in, started watching it. First bit of CGI I saw, I was like, nope, fuck this. Turn it off.
Yeah, that was one of the issues with that movie, because they actually did practical effects in style with the original, and then some studio executive decided, no, that doesn't look CGI, so let's CGI animate on top of the practical effects. So that's what they did for the final release version, which looks awesome. Awful. I think that movie is okay. It obviously follows Team Norway, so these are all actors that I don't know them personally, but I know them. These are all famous actors in Norway. My big issue with that movie is that really it should have been an entirely all Norwegian language movie, since it deals with the Norwegian crew prior to the events of the John Carpenter's Thing. But instead, since this was an American production, they had to decide, okay, we have to find some way to make them speak English. So the actual leads here are going to be these Americans that come to visit this group just so that they can speak English for the benefit of the American audience. To me, just that thing was so incredibly forced and so awkward and so in your face that it kind of like ruined the movie. So I think it has potential, but those things ruined it. That you have a really awkward reason for them to speak broken English for the duration of the movie, plus the CGI destruction of it. So that's a perfect case of where the studio mandates and studio notes ruined what otherwise could have been a very cool movie.
I just think it was a piss poor, thought out plan. Because let's be real, this happened because they wanted to make a remake, but somebody had the brightness at least to say, look, you should never remake The Thing. But what you could do is a prequel, because there is a story there that happened clearly before this, blah, 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 which I'm not adverse to that. But what you said is 100% correct, Andre. If you're going to do a prequel, you do it as this, like completely, Norwegian language film that's a prequel to the actual Thing, and people would have gotten into that, but you don't call it The Thing. That's the other second mistake.
Yeah.
Right. You call it something else. Like, I think the original story was the Terror from Beyond or something like that, or The Thing from Another Planet or Beyond Planet, whatever the hell the original book was called. You play on that maybe. Right. Yeah. But either way, it should have been a smaller, much more contained, all practical, like you said.
And you know what you also do? It costs too much. Instead of doing it a full-blown American production, what you do is basically say, okay, we're going to give you $1 million. That's enough. Team Norway, here you go, $1 million. Go to Greenland, film there, have fun. Show us the finished movie. And then just have some filmmakers and do something truly unique. Do a true Norwegian horror at a budget, and it would have been very, very cool.
Well, that pretty much confirms what I was saying, Sanders. Yeah. I'm sure the studio, because that movie came out at the time when studios were just trying to remake all their big classic films that were selling well on video.
Yeah.
Because make no mistake, The Thing actually wasn't even a big success in the box office when it came out. It wasn't until it found its audience on home video, because it came out in one of the biggest summers ever in 1982, up against everything from Wrath of Khan to E.T. and Poltergeist and stuff like that. So yeah.
So yeah,
in fact, I think it opened up with Poltergeist, to be honest with you. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, Paul, you got to get out of here. What do you got? You got Appalling News and you got Call Me Chato.
Yep, I just published the last couple of days on there. I don't think I'm going to be doing too much. I might do a green light, yes or no, on the Time Bandits, on Apple TV's Time Bandits, which absolutely nobody is talking about, and for good reason. So
wow, you're not that impressed, huh?
No, no.
Thanks for being here today, everyone. Check that out. Links for that are in the description. And Tom, before we roll out, what say you we played that thing from the Thing one more time?
Good idea. And sure, I'm going to leave you guys.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Hi, I'm John Carpenter, and you will see me in The Thing expanded documentary.
US number 31 calling MacLeod, urgent. Come in, over.
Did you notice anything strange about the dog? Anything at all?
Strange? No.
What the hell happened here? Looks like something buried under the ice.
What we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be.
Bennings was right there, Mac. I swear to God it had a hold of him.
Could have imitated 1 million life forms on 1 million planets.
There was one of those things out there trying to imitate him, Gary. We gotta burn the rest of them. Nobody trusts anybody now.
So how do we know who's human?
There's some kind of test, Doc.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood. You ain't tying me up.
Then I'll have to kill you, child.
You gotta be kidding.
We gotta bring this whole place right down into the ice. We're not getting out of here alive. Neither's that thing.